Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the surprising history behind a word you probably hear all the time. We are talking about the bodega. If you live in or even just visit a major city, you know exactly what this is. But the actual history of this simple little word, well, it is a globe-trotting adventure that spans centuries. So let's just jump right in.
So why is it actually called a bodega? Think about it for a second. You probably immediately associate the word with, quick snacks, running late-night errands, busy city streets. You're probably picturing a brightly lit corner store where you run in to grab a coffee on your way to work. But where did that word originate? Because surprisingly enough, it absolutely wasn't born on a city street corner, and it definitely didn't start out meaning what most of us think it means today. It's a pretty crazy contrast, honestly. On one hand, you have our modern perception, right? Neon signs, chips, pure convenience. But on the other hand, the actual origins are tied strictly to ancient underground wine cellars, trade, and storage. I mean, that is a massive jump, from a modern convenience store to an ancient underground cellar. So let's unpack this linguistic journey together and see exactly how this happened.
Section 1. The Unexpected Origins.
Okay, to really understand how we got here, we have to look at the very foundation of the word, way before convenience stores were even a concept. The deep linguistic root of bodega is actually the Latin word apotheca. And back then, it was strictly a utilitarian term. It literally just meant a warehouse or a storage place for goods and supplies. That's it. There was absolutely no retail aspect to it, no customers wandering in for a quick bite. It was 100% about practical storage.
But over the centuries, this Latin root transformed into the Spanish word bodega. And watching this evolution is just fascinating. We go from an ancient Roman warehouse to a Spanish wine cellar during the colonial era, all the way to the modern corner store in the Americas. It is basically a perfect map of language in motion.
Let's zoom in on that middle era for a second. In Spain, the term became specifically linked to wine production. A bodega was the word used to describe those cool underground cellars where barrels were stored, aged, and preserved under really highly controlled conditions. Again, these were not retail shops for the public. They were totally practical environments designed for long-term preservation. And what's really incredible is that if you go to Spain today, a bodega still refers to wineries or wine cellars. It kept that original meaning beautifully intact.
Section 2. Crossing the Atlantic. So as the Spanish language spread across the Americas during colonization, the word kind of had to adapt on the fly to completely new environments and practical needs. In parts of Latin America, especially in the Caribbean and parts of South America, the meaning started to expand. These spaces took on a dual purpose. They naturally evolved from being just pure storage spaces to becoming retail points and eventually transforming into neighborhood shops where people could buy everyday things like food, drinks, and household necessities. It was just a completely natural, organic transition driven entirely by convenience.
And this, right here, this perfectly illustrates a core concept of this entire explainer. Language evolves when it's shaped by daily life, practical needs, and local economic structures. This whole shift wasn't just some random accident. It shows how our practical, everyday human needs literally physically shape the language we use. The word expanded simply because the physical space it described expanded its function within the community.
Section 3. The New York Identity.
All right, this is where the word finally takes on the vibe we all recognize today. The term eventually made its way into the United States, brought over primarily by Spanish-speaking immigrants from Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and other Latin American countries. And in dense, packed cities like New York, the bodega developed a highly distinct, totally vital identity. They became these independently owned corner stores selling groceries, snacks, toiletries, you name it. Crucially, they operate crazy long hours, often 24/7, and they act as these essential, family-owned pillars and true social hubs for the community.
So the really crucial takeaway here is that a bodega is so much more than just a store. It's fundamentally woven into the city's daily structure. They act as a major stabilizing force. Think about it. These small walking distance shops fill massive accessibility gaps in areas where giant supermarkets are just scarce. And because so many of them are passed down through generations, they create these deeply rooted relationships between the owners and the customers. They provide incredible stability, familiarity, and continuity for neighborhoods that are otherwise changing incredibly fast.
Section 4. A word in motion. Today, the term is recognized pretty much everywhere, right? It's heavily reinforced by media, music, online culture, but its precise meaning? That depends entirely on where you were standing. In Spain, they still think of a winery. In New York, it's your classic 24/7 corner store. But get this, in places like the Philippines, the word extends its reach to mean a small storage area or even an attic. And even in other US cities outside of New York, it might just be used loosely for any small convenience shop.
The word just naturally adapts to whatever the local culture needs it to be.
But here is what's truly mind-blowing, and what I really want you to take away from this explainer. It's how things come full circle. No matter where you go in the world, despite all the centuries of changes, the core DNA of the word is exactly the same: storage, access, and everyday usefulness. Those three pillars seamlessly connect its ancient past in Rome directly to its present reality on a modern city corner.
There's this great quote that I think just captures this perfectly. Words are not fixed. They travel, adapt, and grow along with the people who use them. It is such a beautiful reminder of how language travels with us. It quietly carries traces of centuries of history, human immigration, and cultural shifts right into our daily errands, usually without us ever even noticing it.
So, the next time you step into your neighborhood shop to grab a quick snack or a coffee, take a look around and ask yourself, what other simple, everyday words are hiding ancient global journeys right in front of us? Keep your ears open and your curiosity sharp. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will catch you on the next one.